Hello guys, welcome to Storytimes. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise, even more interesting stories. Also, let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. Now, let's start today's story. My pregnant wife had an affair and left me for another man and tried to abandon our baby. I fought back, took custody, and karma crushed her perfect life. I wasn't always a single father. Once, I was a husband, a man deeply in love with his wife, Anna. We were high school sweethearts who'd weathered college, job hunts, and 2 grueling years of fertility treatments. When we found out she was pregnant, it felt like life had finally opened its arms to us. But things started to change around month 4. At first, I chalked it up to hormones, her distance, her quick temper, the way she'd rather scroll through her phone than fall asleep in my arms like she used to. She stopped saying, "I love you." Her smile looked more like a performance. And then the late-night walks began. Walks that didn't include me. Still, I held on. I remember the exact night my world cracked open. She left her phone on the bathroom sink while she showered. It buzzed. Once. Twice. Then a stream of messages popped up on the screen. I wasn't trying to snoop, but when you see someone named Ben texting your pregnant wife, I miss your body. It punches the air out of your lungs. I waited until she got out. Calmly. Too calmly. "Who's Ben?" I asked. She didn't even flinch. "Someone who actually sees me." The room spun. "You're carrying our child. And I still feel invisible," she said, like she was reading from a breakup script she'd rehearsed 100 times. "Ben listens. He makes me feel alive. You're just dependable. Just dependable." That's what years of loyalty, sacrifice, and love amounted to. Despite it all, I stayed. I stayed because I didn't want our daughter, our unborn daughter, to grow up with a broken home. I hoped Anna would come around, that motherhood would ground her, that the idea of our family would outweigh her fantasies. When our daughter, Lila, was born, I saw the whole universe in her eyes. I thought Anna would too, but she grew colder, more detached. She'd prop Lila up for Instagram stories, painting herself as the perfect mama, only to hand her off to me minutes later so she could go clear her head. I became both parents, silently. And it was fine, because holding Lila was like holding a purpose I never knew I needed. Then, when Lila was just 23 months old, Anna dropped the grenade. "I'm marrying Ben," she said flatly over coffee one morning, like she was asking for the salt. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. "You're joking." "I'm not." He proposed. "We're moving to Chicago. We can't take Lila. You can either take some money and hand over full custody, or we can put her in a state care facility until we figure something out." I was stunned silent. "You're talking about our daughter like she's a stray cat." "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "You'll be fine. You've always been fine." Something in me broke then. Not out of sadness, but fury. Fury at the woman who once wept with joy when the pregnancy test turned positive. Fury at the selfishness, the cowardice. But I didn't show it. Not then. I took Lila into my arms. "You're not getting a dime's worth of custody," I said. "I'll fight you to the end." And that's exactly what I did. Over the next year, I waged a war in courtrooms. I exposed Anna's infidelity, her abandonment, the financial proof that she'd taken money out of our joint accounts to fund vacations with Ben. I documented everything, hired a ruthless attorney, and I never missed a single hearing. Because unlike Anna, I knew what being a parent meant. By the end of it, I was awarded full custody. Anna lost everything. But that was only the beginning of her karma. After the judge slammed the gavel and awarded me full custody, Anna barely reacted. She stood there with her lawyer and her new fiancé, Ben, the real estate guy with gelled hair and a smug smile, as if this was just a minor inconvenience. No tears, no begging, just a slight shrug and a whisper. "We'll be fine." They weren't. Turns out, Ben's fortune wasn't exactly as polished as his Instagram made it seem. He was knee-deep in debt, propped up by credit cards, investment scams, and fake luxury. Anna had left me for a man with flash, but no foundation. Within 4 months of losing custody, their rented luxury condo in Chicago was gone. She started reaching out, first through passive messages on social media, then directly. "Can I see Lila this weekend?" "No," I replied. "You gave that up." "But I'm still her mother." A mother who tried to put her in a state facility. She stopped texting for a while after that. But karma wasn't done with her. I didn't just win custody. I made sure the world knew why I did. I didn't go public with a pity post, or air out the details online. That's not my style. Instead, I let the truth circulate quietly. Friends, neighbors, even her family started learning why Anna suddenly had no relationship with her daughter. I had screenshots, testimonies, financial records. I never said a word publicly, but people talk when they see inconsistencies. Her own parents, who once adored her, turned cold. They started showing up to my house with gifts for Lila. Her mom even cried on my porch, saying she didn't recognize her daughter anymore. Then the real blow came. Ben got indicted for wire fraud and embezzlement. Apparently, his charm wasn't enough to keep his fake empire afloat. The FBI raided his office. Anna's name was listed on a few business documents as a silent partner. Probably just a signature he convinced her to give, but it was enough to drag her into the mud. She called me in tears one night. The first time she sounded like the old Anna. I didn't know he was scamming people. I swear, she sobbed. I'm broke. My accounts are frozen. I'm scared. I paused. You should be. I need help. She whispered. Help? I said calmly. I offered you help 2 years ago. I begged you to fight for this family. Instead, you tried to sell your daughter off like she was an old couch on Craigslist. Silence. I made a mistake, she finally said. No, Anna. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. What you did was a choice. Over and over. I hung up. After that night, something shifted. She moved back to our hometown, alone. No Ben. No money. No plan. She picked up a job at a local diner where she used to roll her eyes at the waitstaff. Now she was the waitstaff. I didn't rub it in. I didn't need to. She'd see me at the grocery store with Lila in the cart, laughing, smiling, singing songs. Sometimes she tried to say hello. Sometimes she cried. But I never let her get too close. Lila didn't recognize her anymore. To her, I was her home. And Anna? She was just a stranger who let go of everything real for something glittering and hollow. But I wasn't done yet. Because while Anna thought the custody battle was the end, she had no idea what I'd been planning behind the scenes. Anna was back in town, working double shifts at a rundown diner off the interstate, a far cry from the penthouse life she once flaunted on social media. Her makeup looked heavier, her smiles thinner. Occasionally, she'd lock eyes with me at the grocery store or at the park when I was with Lila. She always looked like she wanted to say something, but I never gave her the chance. Because I had one last card to play. And it wasn't revenge out of spite. It was justice, the kind she thought she could outrun. While she was gallivanting around with Ben during her freedom era, she left behind a mountain of financial debris, unpaid bills, credit card fraud, and, most damning of all, she forged my signature on a co-signed loan for Ben's bogus startup. A $60,000 loan. I discovered it during the custody case, quietly filed it under my attorney's radar, and waited. I wanted custody to be clean, undisrupted. But now, with full custody secured and her ex-fiancé in prison, the timing was perfect. We filed charges. Forgery, fraud, financial deception. She was served papers at the diner in front of customers. I didn't enjoy that moment, but I didn't stop it either. Actions have consequences, and hers were catching up like a tidal wave. I heard from a mutual friend she collapsed in the break room and had to be driven home by her manager. The town knew now, not just about the affair, not just about Ben, but about the forged documents, the scams, the mess she left behind while pretending to be some luxury queen on Instagram. She messaged me again. Please, I'm begging you. I'll go to jail. I'll lose everything. I replied with just one line. You already lost what mattered most. Weeks passed. The court didn't press for prison time. Only heavy financial restitution and mandated community service. But her reputation? Her dignity? Gone. She was now a pariah in the very town where she once walked like a prom queen. And Lila? She blossomed. She started preschool, loved finger painting, and developed a weird obsession with dinosaurs. She'd curl up next to me at bedtime and ask, Daddy, why don't I have a mommy like the other kids? I never lied. Some mommies forget how to be mommies. I'd say gently, but you've got me. And I've got you. One Saturday, I got a letter in the mailbox. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Inside, a crumpled photo. Anna, holding newborn Lila in the hospital, with a note scribbled on the back. I made the worst choices of my life. I miss her laugh. I miss her smell. But I know I don't deserve to anymore. I didn't reply, because some things break beyond repair. I wasn't raising my daughter to believe love is something you can walk away from. That, sorry, fixes everything. That people are disposable. But karma did its job. Quietly, slowly, ruthlessly. Anna still lives here, a few streets down. We rarely cross paths now. She keeps her head low, and I keep mine high, not because I won, but because I held on. Not to revenge, not to hate, but to my daughter. And that was always enough. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.